Hello lovelies, Chrissy here today, and I'm sure in my last video I mentioned that I went with a minimal one because I knew that I was going to do a layout or a project that was full of paint and pretty bright. Well, it happened. So I wasn't actually going to do an art journal page to share with you because I did one last month and then I saw the pretty paints and it was hard, but then this actually happened by accident. So as you can see, I have a massive hot mess of a page there. So what happened is I was trying to play with the mixed media paints, with the paints from the mixed media kit to make a layout, and I wasn't happy. I hated it. So I was cleaning off my scrapey tool onto an art journal, onto a page of my art journal, figuring I might be able to do something with it later. And then I'm looking at it and I'm going, I think I could use that. And so what I've done is I've come back in with some orange and some pink, and I've covered up intentionally this time. I've applied more of the paint to the background, and I've used those paints to cover up where I had a bit of that brown. So obviously if you mix green and orange, you get brown. Now, because I was using a squeegee when I applied this paint, I had no control over where it was going. I was just cleaning it off because no paint goes to waste. And that's what I was getting. But because the paint was dry, by the time I started this, I was able to go back in with more paint and layer on top and cover up those brown areas, which is what I did with the orange and the pink. And this is where I really love this page. So I thought I'll go in with a stencil, and this is a stencil we got in a previous kit. And I was actually planning on covering up the majority of it. I was going to put some texture in the background and then write a word and block out the background so only my word was colored. But when I did this, I really loved it. So I've used that stencil with some black, because when you've got a lot of color happening, it's always good to either bring in some black or white, and I loved how it looked. I really did. So then I decided to do the opposite. I decided to write my word, but keep it black, so I was keeping this fabulous background. And I knew somewhere I had a set of stencils that were pretty big alphabets. So I went and found it, and I was lucky enough that the word creative was going to fit right in the middle, because I had a specific quote in mind for this background. So we know the saying goes, I am creative, you can't expect me to be neat as well. This I could live by. This is really me. And then, especially because this background is so messy, I thought it would work perfectly. Now, again, this was just me playing around. I was recording because this video actually started with me attempting to make my mixed media layout where I was using all the paint. Scrapped that idea because I just wasn't feeling it. It wasn't working for me. And then I saw all this awesome color on my art journal, and I decided to go with it and use it. And it just turns out to be one of my favorite layouts. I really do love how this turned out. So yeah, I think the thing you need to take from this is there are no mistakes in art. That is something my Year 12 art teacher told me, and to this day I still tell my kids, there are no mistakes in art. The backgrounds that I made that I don't like, I've kept because I can use them for collage paper at some point down the road. And all of that paint, see, again, no paint goes to waste. I'm using my leftover black paint on the other page, and I'll do something with that another time. And so, yeah, I can use it later, and one of my most favorite art journal pages came out of it. I was just using it as a cleanup page. This was essentially a cleanup page. I was just plonking paint down so it wasn't going to waste, and this is what came out. So to really help define that word, because there is a lot going on in the background, I decided to go around it with one of my white jelly roll pens. I picked up the wrong one. I picked up the 8. I'm not a fan of the 8. And that's the CRE. And then as you can see, it starts to get better and more bold in the ATIVE because I swapped to the 10. And it really does make that word pop. It just pops right off there. So now I'm going in with the rest of my quote, and I was going to stamp it, and then I remembered we got this black alphabet in the kit. I'm like, oh, this will work perfectly. Now, you can't see it right away, and I thought it wasn't going to it because there is a lot of black in the background. But then I do the same thing I did with the creative. I go around in white pen and it just pops off that page. It is really, normally I don't use a really big quote on an art journal page, not like this. And even if I do some journaling, I don't do it with alphas. But this page was just so perfect. So up the top I've got I am, and then I've got my big creative, and then down the bottom it's you can't expect me to be neat as well. And I'm not being too careful with my alphas because this whole page is about being a messy creative. So if my alphas are crooked, I'm not bothering to go back. If they're uneven or anything, it just really adds to the whole layout. So this is where I'm going back in with that white, and you'll see in the picture in the end that it really does. It just makes it pop, and you can read it. I wasn't sure if you'd be able to read the quote because of all those black letters in the background, but you really can, and this is probably one of my most favorite art journal pages. So that's it from me. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I hope you take something from it, There's no mistakes in art. So thanks for watching, and I'll be back real soon with another video. Bye for now.